Matt Whitaker, former U.S. Acting Attorney General.
This is such a great conversation about America, our future, what's going to save our republic.
We have a great football player. Matt Whitaker is here. Matt.
They tried to bury me. They didn't realize I was a seed.
It's a touchdown. Whitaker.
Former acting U.S. Attorney General.
Under President Trump.
I'm going to be an unwavering supporter of law enforcement.
Welcome to Liberty and Justice with your host, Matt Whitaker.
Welcome to Liberty and Justice. I'm your host, Matt Whitaker. Really special guest. A guy that I've had a chance to get to know since I met him down in Florida, Frank Murphy. Frank, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. Apologize. I'm in my home office, man. You know, it's always important to take that call from you. So it don't matter where I'm at. I wanna be on with you.
Well, for both of us, you know, we decided to do this early in the morning, and I think it caught us both. Conceptually, it's like most of life, you know, conceptually, it makes sense, you know, when you're scheduling it, and then you actually try to do it, life gets in the way. But Frank's a former NFL player and great college athlete. I heard his story recently as he told it from the heart. And not only do I like, you know, where he came from, I really like where he's going. And we're going to get into his kind of, mission in life and what he's trying to do to make a difference and pay it forward. So, Frank, a lot of folks, this is going to be their first chance to learn about you. I guess what really intrigued me is we share a common coach in our football career, and that's Bill Snyder. He was your head coach at Kansas State. He was my offensive coordinator at the University of Iowa. He recruited me to the University of Iowa before he went to Kansas State. So that's not where your story starts, though, Frank, does it?
No. But Bill Snyder is one of the best coaches that I ever had, with the way he coached and how he coaches turning young boys into men. That's one thing that stuck out with me, being with Coach Bill Snyder throughout those years of college football. So, yeah, he's one of the best.
Yeah, great man, great coach, Hall of Fame legend. But tell me about growing up, because I think, to know where you're going, I think people need to understand where you came from. So tell me about growing up and maybe some of the challenges that you overcame.
Well, I think first off, starting out with two great parents doing the best they can. I came from a two-family background when it comes to your mom and dad. But I stayed in a neighborhood that began to get taken over by drugs and violent. And my parents was kind of green to that. My dad's a country boy that loves hunting and fishing and working all the time, 5 a.m. to 6, 7 at night. My mom was a housewife, so and took care of all of us. It was 5 of us. So I grew up in a family atmosphere. But one thing a family atmosphere it couldn't overcome is your neighborhood, your society, your environment. I got swamped into that. I got bullied one day at the age of around about 11 years old. And all I had to do was talk to my parents about it. But I decided not to talk to my parents about it. I decided to take matters in my own hand. And I really thought that's what I had to do to survive. It was that serious to me. I thought I had to take this fake ID. That's a picture of you, but everything on there a lie. So I took that fake ID and began to hang around the guys that I thought I had to hang around. I began to learn from them, and it begins to overpower my mom, all the Christian backgrounds that she taught me from being in church and praying every day at the table. The streets never serve time, but the streets will put you in position so you can serve time. I began to copy and imitate what was going on in my environment, my neighborhood. I started selling drugs. I started carrying firearms. I started doing all type of things that was not me. My parents and my sisters and brothers didn't even recognize me no more. I ended up getting incarcerated at the age of 15. All my hopes and dreams of playing college football, playing in the NFL, all the dreams I had was definitely looking like they were shattered at that time. As I walked into the jail, I could smell the stink socks and see the paint peeling off the wall. I knew that was not where I was supposed to be. But because of my inexperience of picking role models, my youth years of not understanding how important it is to be around the right crowd and talk to your parents and talk to your guardian and talk to those who could be role models in your life. I had no understanding of that. And I found myself doing a year. I began to realize at the end of the day that this was my life. And I began to sometimes, I felt like I was giving up, but I'll never forget my mom said this to me. She said, God got a plan for you. And he showed me that plan when you was born, and you're going to fulfill it. You have to fight through this adversity, and we'll make it through. So, of course, we made it through. I went to trial. I won trial after I sat a year, and I got out, and I went back to high school. It's something that's called residue. No matter how much you fight, if you've been around something so long, you think you got all the spots cleaned off you, but it's residue follow you. But I went on to high school, All-American high school in 1 year, running back, MVP, Offensive Player of the Year in the state of Florida, just in 1 year. So I left there and went to junior college, and went on to Mississippi Junior College because I didn't have the grades because I was incarcerated. And I went on to junior college, and man, I went there and the residue followed me. I began to hang around the wrong crowd again. I began to imitate the very things that I did before I got out the first time. And I found myself getting kicked out of school. The coach called my mom and say, we sorry that we have to get rid of this guy. This guy is still hanging around the wrong crowd. I mean, I got shot at on campus. I got, from drugs and different stuff like that. And so my mom told him, well, if you send him back home, he'll be dead. Could you please find another place for him? And the second chance show up again. And he said, ma'am, I think I can, Miss Murphy. I think I got a coach that'll take him. And a coach in Kansas, Garden City, Kansas, Coach Jim Gus and Bob Larson. And they took a chance on me, and I got down there. And all I could think about is, man, I'm not going to get in trouble. But one thing I learned, without a mentor, without a life coach, without someone to speak to your life, there was no way possible that can happen. No matter how much you wanted to stay out of trouble, if you didn't have that person there imitating how you should act, how you should talk, what you should do, and be that role model in your life, you're just going to fall right back into the same cycle. And I didn't have that mentor. I didn't have nobody who told me, Frank, don't do this. This is not right. I learned all this stuff on my own. So when I got to Garden City, that's all I was saying to myself. And eventually, here I was again, right back in trouble in Garden City. And I got incarcerated again. This incarceration here was one of the incarcerations that changed my life. I thought I was going to do 10 to 15 years, once again, doing the same thing, back out there, selling drugs, back out there thinking that's what I had to do in college. I'm thinking that this is the life. Even though I'm in college, I just couldn't separate the two. And I was going through so much difficult times that coach, when I got incarcerated this time, the president of the college and coach called me in the office. They say, listen here, you will never play a snap of football on this team again. But the president say, I can't kick you out. She say, so you need to try to get your education because you haven't been found guilty because you still got to go to trial. And she said, you got an 0 point something grade point average. Son, I need you to focus in and do that. Why don't you do that? So I began to focus on that. I focus on my work, and I picked that up from an 0 point something to a 3.2 as I was waiting trial. Something happened that changed my life. I began to walk down the hall every day the same way. Nobody would talk to me. The coaches wouldn't talk to me. I would speak. They wouldn't speak back. The players, nobody talked to me, wouldn't be my friend. So I was a loner. So I walked down this hall every day so I didn't have to walk past nobody because nobody would talk to me anyway. I asked the coach, could I lift one day? He wouldn't even respond. He was just like ignoring me. And this lady, she's a janitor. She said, hey, young man. And I looked around and she said, you walk this way every day. And I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I just want to tell you something. God told me to tell you that you're going to change the world and you're going to change this football team. So immediately I start to smirk like, lady, you don't even know what I'm dealing with. I got trial next week for it. I got I'm never going to play on this team again. So I don't know how you tell me I'm going to change this team around. So she said, son, I would like to talk with you if you allow me to. I just want to keep telling you what God told me to tell you. She say, will you go to church with me? I say, man, you sound like my mom. And I say, sure, I'll go to church with you. And she mentored me. Every day I was with her, she mentored me how to be a man and how not to make bad decisions, how to not get frustrated with life. That was the first time in my life that somebody set me aside. Now, the coaches had that opportunity, but they didn't see a diamond shining. They didn't see the athlete blooming, so they didn't care. They never seen me play like that. So they never even mentored me. It wasn't a man. It was a woman that sat down with me and say, a janitor, that sat down with me and say, hey, I care enough about you to tell you how to get over this because you need help. And I went to trial. And I went to trial. My whole team was behind me. As they was reading the verdict, they found me not guilty. That's 2 trials I was found not guilty. One in high school, one in junior college. And I say, man, I'm going to be able to play football again because I'm found not guilty. And I went back to the coaches and they say, nah, we already got a star running back. He's 30 touchdowns. He's All-American. He's coming back next year. And so they say, you know what? We'll just let you come back and try out, so we don't want to have no mess, So little did they know, I worked my butt off. I went home in Florida and I printed out this Florida State workout book and I followed it to the T by myself every day. I didn't go in my neighborhood. We moved out in the country. My mom moved out in the country. I didn't go in no neighborhoods. I didn't go out. Every day I worked out after work. My first job I ever had. I worked in a Winn-Dixie warehouse. I was focused. I was focused so much that I almost died because I cramped from the top of my head all the way down to my toes. That's how hard I was working. One day I fell out and they had to call an ambulance. I was refusing to be a statistic. Now that I've been mentored and my eyes have been opened and I've been life coached by this janitor, I've seen the light. Even friends calling me. I remember friends calling me 2 a.m, man, come go out with us, man. Come. You need some money, man. We'll take care of you, da, da, da. And that would make me so mad that I would hang up the phone 2 o'clock in the morning and go to the track. I say, every time a bad influence called me, I'm going to go work on my craft. Now, I didn't think I was going, I didn't know I was going to play football because they already had a star running back, but I was like, I'm going to be ready. Well, funny thing, it was the summer. It was time to go back to college. Well, I was getting ready to go back in about a week. And I get a call from the head coach and he say, hey, you been working out? I say, yes, sir. I say, I understand y'all still got the star running back, but I'm coming to compete. I'm going to do the best I can. He said, well, I hope you've been working out. We just kicked him out of school. And I'm like, whoa. I was like, okay, well, I'm ready. I could have been sitting down, not doing anything. I could have been taking it hard that they got a star running back already. But instead, I took it to heart and say, this is an opportunity, not an obligation. Yep. And I went back to that school, Garden City, and I took them to the national championship. I won the Heisman Trophy of junior college, went into the Junior College Hall of Fame, broke records. That's all in 1 year. And I have to say it was because of the janitor. What was the mindset change that she taught you? What were the keys or what was the thing, how did you change from, kind of this guy that kept being attracted to the wrong crowd and doing the wrong things, to ultimately, being winning the Heisman in junior college football and getting a scholarship to K-State? She taught me how to, she taught me to believe in something bigger than me. Because all I could see at the time was just me and see that I wasn't worthy, seeing that this is all I'm supposed to do. This is all I'm supposed to become. They say I didn't supposed to live at 15, past 15. I did. They say, hey, this guy here, don't supposed to make it this far. I began to believe it. When you hear that stuff so much in that environment, you just like, I guess this is my life. No matter what nobody say, this stuff is my life. She taught me a different life through God. She said, listen, just like your mom put that in you, I'm going to help bring it out. You have a different life. And here's how you get to this different life. These are the things you have to change. And she just helped me have faith in something bigger than myself. So I started to believe in my real ID. That's a picture of me, but everything on there is truth. I put down the fake ID, which is a picture of me, but everything on there a lie. I put that ID down and I began to tap into what she started to tell me what was real.
This reminds me of something that I have believed a long time, and that is, your identity. To your point, your ID or your identity drives what you do. I mean, either your behaviors can make you who you are, or who you are can drive your behaviors. And it sounds like you just had this shift in who you are and what your identity is, and that changed your behaviors and put you on a much different path than maybe, to your point, where you were heading for most of your early years.
Yeah, I think too, I had to put definition behind my name. Coaches and friends and families can help you, but it has to come to a point where you want to put definition behind your name of who you are. And she made me feel good about who I was at that time. So I started to want to add to that. I started to want to build something and put definition behind my name, doing the right things, being the right person, thinking the right ways, making the right decisions. And until I was able to see that, I seen nothing but darkness. I seen nothing but destruction. I seen nothing but, death. But thank God for the janitor. Of course, thank God for my parents because they installed it in me, but it was so muddy that I couldn't tap back into it. She cleaned the mud off it and helped me see what they put in me when I was little, when I was young. And I truly believe that we all need a life coach. We all need a mentor. We all need a janitor, so to speak, like Miss Cheryl. And that's why I started what I started. That's why I started my charity. That's why I started the things, because no matter who you are, where you're from, you need a life coach in some area of your life. You need a mentor. You need a role model. And that's what she was for me, and it changed my life. I went on to Kansas State University from there after winning all those awards. I could have went anywhere in the country: Florida, Florida State, Nebraska, Tennessee, Washington, and I chose Kansas State because of Bill Snyder. When I met with him, it was something different. He didn't lie to me and tell me you could have this position. He really told me, he was really honest with me, and honesty and character stood out to me because the life I was living at that time. So he was the man, and plus we was ranked top 5, so that helped out, just knowing that I'll be on a good team with Michael Bishop and Jeff Kelly and all those different guys on the offensive defensive side of the ball. Yeah,
well, those rankings are a little fickle, because when I went to the University of Iowa in 1988, I think we were preseason number 1. Didn't live up to that. But, can always say, as Coach Fry always said, you're not bragging if you did it. So
right.
We were preseason number 1, but that was all. It was downhill from there. So you play in the NFL. You get to know, a lot of great professionals. But, anybody that wants to look up the highlight reel certainly can. You continue to work very hard in the off season. But, life after football, that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how you determined to do the project you're currently working on. Tell me the story, because I know you're very interested and involved in helping juvenile incarcerated people be successful, learn life skills, and ultimately, save their lives.
I guess I'm a poster child billboard for that. And I got an opportunity to make it out. What man or woman get an opportunity to make it out, but don't go back? Don't give back. Don't seek the help, especially when you have the answers. You don't have to have all the answers, just have a answer to give. And I feel like I add value to that because I personally went through that. And I personally know what they're going through at this time. Based off my experience and what mistakes I made. So the changing point was me when I got in the NFL, and I realized I had a platform. And I never forget, Coach Dungy was the head coach, one of the best coaches I ever played for. Him and Bill Snyder, the best 2 coaches I ever played for. And I played for a lot of coaches in the NFL in college, junior college, high school. But he showed me character because one thing I'd never seen is a man do what he say all the time. It was always something. So I'll never forget, we had a bad game, and I was like, listen, coach finna come in this locker room and cuss us out because that's what people do. That's what coaches do. Well, I never seen him cuss one time. I never seen him yell, do nothing. And he came back in the locker room and was the same guy. That struck me. So I started to watch him. I started to watch people like Derek Brooks, John Lynch, Mike Allstott. I started watching those guys, Rondé Barber. I started watching everything they do. And Ward Dunn. And when I tell you I was around a bunch of great men, and I started imitating, and Derek Brooks took me under his wings, and it was just, I began to realize that it's so much more for me to do. And I started that nonprofit organization. I never forget, my CPA called me because I was spending a lot of my own money at that time when I first got in the league on kids, giving back clothes, then Thanksgiving dinners, then Christmas. And I was giving a lot of my money away, not understanding nothing about money, having that much money. And my CPA said, I need to talk with you. And I said in my mind, I said, man, if he tell me to stop giving, I'm gonna fire him. Yeah. And he said, Frank, you got to stop giving so much. I say, man, I'm gonna fire you. You're fired. He say, hold on. He say, no. I'm not saying stop giving. I'm finna show you a better way to give. Right. And he started talking about nonprofit organizations. So I didn't do it right away because I studied it. So I went and studied nonprofit organizations, took courses, got around people who own nonprofit organizations. I did that for 2 years. Then I started my own nonprofit organization. Since 2009, we've been helping hundreds of thousands, to hundreds of thousands over and over and beyond with the programs we have, mentorship, and we have curriculums, books. I go into the prisons and speak to the youth, the next generation. And we have so much success when they get out. We've been going to level 5 prisons in the state of Florida. We do the same thing in Georgia. So we are just putting our imprint with these programs of life skills, because I believe that's the bridge to being successful, life skills, learning how to make decisions, learning how to bounce back, learning how to correct yourself when you do make bad decisions. Those are things, finance, stuff that we feel like they need to know no matter who it is. So I had that mentor program in high schools, middle schools, colleges. I did this with some NFL players. I put the program together for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and put it in the juvenile prison as well. We've been really trying to impact the world through these programs. And I'm excited about the new programs that we're doing and the way that we're doing them. We're getting results. I was blessed to get accolades. 2 presidents gave me 2 awards for my community working programs. I don't got awards from the Tampa Bay Lightnings. I don't got the philanthropy award in the NFL, and I'm not even playing. So that says a lot. And I say that stuff not to impress people, but I say it to impress upon you that if I can do it, if I can go out and help, then you can too. And if you can't, then you can definitely find people like me, my organization, and give back and impact the next generation through athletes. And I use these programs to build up athletes, turn them into role models so they can go back to the very community like I did, or go back to different communities like I still do, and impact the next generation.
Yeah, and the main reason, Frank, that I wanted you on this show was to highlight this work you're doing, because it's extraordinary. And these life skills, I think, people sometimes take for granted that, they know how to resolve conflict, or they know how to manage their money, or that, they have these skills. The people you're helping don't have that experience. You're starting from ground zero, right?
Yeah, I think when you come into a place where you're not understanding finance, nobody ever taught you finance. Nobody ever taught you how to make a good decision. Nobody taught you how to bounce back, that you don't have to stay in the same path, the same road. If you don't have that around you in your ear, you're going to continue to go back doing the same thing that you did before, because you have no other choice to make. So I want to give our next generation another choice. I have mentored at a school called Baylor. Plenty of schools like Baylor High School, one of the top schools in the United States in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I started to realize that it's just more than the inner city. I mentored there, did my program there, and I realized these kids are suffering as well. Mm-hmm. They just have the money and the means to get more stuff. Yeah. And I did that for 3 years. I did that program there for 3 years and changed the whole the environment there before I moved on and moved back to Florida. And I realized that if it don't matter where you're from, it matters, do you want to change and go to the next level? And I want to provide that for everybody. These are some of the topics that we talk on: discovering your purpose, discovering your identity, building character, helping you with anger management, effective communication. We work on leadership, how to find a role model, abuse awareness, decision making, which we feel is very important. We work on finance, drug and alcohol abuse, awareness of creating a business plan, understanding business entrepreneurship. And we talk about bully and definitely peer pressure. That's something that I went through. So those just topics, to name a few, where we go and we mentor these kids. And we got great results. Like I said, we have been all around doing this for a while. And I appreciate you definitely bringing me on to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, how do people learn more about what you're doing and get involved?
Well, I think you can go to our website, www.mwpcharity.org, mwpcharity.org, or you can even go to www.frankd, D as in door, frankdmurphy.com. That's frankdmurphy.com. Yeah. And you can go to those two websites and you will be able to navigate your way through what we're doing, why we're doing it, and pick up more information and see how you can help, in what ways you can help. That's with your volunteer efforts, or that's with your giving effort, so we can impact more and continue to do what we do.
Yeah, and I'll make sure I link both those in the show notes for this. And I want to encourage everybody that listens and watches this show to support Frank and his effort. I think, this is, as I've heard his story and seen what he's doing, I just think it's extraordinary. And I can't encourage people enough to support you, to donate money to your effort, because it's going to be all led on target. I mean, it's not going to you, it's not going to staff, it's going to curriculum, it's going to programming that is changing lives. And that's why I had to get you on to talk about this, Frank.
Thank you so much. And just so you know, I have invested so much time and so much finance into these programs because I believe in them. Yeah. And when you talk about where our finances go, what it does, just so you know, my charity business is since 2009. I have never took a salary. Yeah. I've been blessed and been fortunate to do the things that I do in my life, and did great by playing in NFL. So I just believe at this time, it's best for me to do everything and give back to the charity. And that's been my approach. So when you come be a part of this, we don't want you to just give your money. We want you to really come see how we do things, if that's what you want to do. Walk with us so you can see firsthand how we impact the next generation, how they'll be so thankful for not only your donation, but your time and your effort and just thinking about them. So we feel like we've been doing this for a while. And, sometimes, we get overlooked because of the work we do. We get overlooked. And I'm just thankful that you gave me this opportunity to talk about what we do and why we do it. I spoke at this big event one time. There was a bunch of great men there that I knew, great wealthy men there, and I was speaking. And I can tell they was kind of like maybe not as interested. But I had to talk about something. I say, everybody in this room, if the pipe busts, we all get wet. I got their attention. They say, what you mean by that? I say, if the pipe busts, we all get wet. I know you're thinking because you stay in a gated community and you stay off in the outskirts, because I stay in these places as well. So I say, but if the pipe busts, we all get wet because you got kids. You got grandkids. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do nothing now, what world would they be living in? Because your grandkids going to look you in the face and say, Papa or Grandma, you see how they did this and mistreated? What did you do? They don't want to hear about how many cars you bought. They don't want to hear about, oh, you stay in this nice house. They want to hear, honestly, what did you do? Did you help these people that didn't understand? Did you give a lending hand, Papa? And that's the day that you understand that. Don't wait to that moment. You want to be able to tell your kids and your grandkids, I did all I can do to make sure that you lived in a better world, not just a better space, where you protect it, but a better world, because your kids and your grandkids got to live in the world, not in a space. So I would encourage anybody to get in contact with me. My information is go to the website, but also leave a message on the website. I'll call you. I have a great team and I stay involved. I'm firsthand involved. Even though my team is good, I still stay involved. I give you numbers to call. You can call the 813 number, 965-1472 number. And I have a great staff that makes sure that we are on point when we call you back, when we answer your questions or give you whatever you need to feel comfortable. But give us a call. Please check us out. We're ready to keep impacting. We're looking to do 50 prisons in the state of Florida, juvenile prisons. Some of them are a five level prison, which is bad. And some of them are lower. We're seeking to do 50 prisons and not only put the program in 50 prisons, but give them all materials and books to read, my life story so they can understand, and have me go down there and speak at all 50 prisons to tell my story so I can build a relationship with them. And we need y'all help to do that. So thank you again.
Fantastic. Frank Murphy, you are a shining light in our society, where you're actually rolling up your sleeves, putting the hard work in, and making a difference. And so I just want to thank you for being on Liberty and Justice today. I'm just so proud to get to know you. I look forward to being involved in what you're doing myself, and encourage, the listeners and viewers of this show to likewise get involved.
Thank you. Thank you again. Appreciate it.
All right. And remember, you can watch Liberty and Justice every Friday evening on CPAC Now. Otherwise, Whitaker.tv for every show, or anywhere that good podcasts are distributed, including iTunes and Spotify. So with that, Frank Murphy will have all your connections and links in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you again, my friend.
Anytime, my friend.